Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw. I'm bringing you 5 cards for the most popular villain out of the entire Final Fantasy series, Kefka. Just to let y'all know, I'm new to Final Fantasy, so I'm just now learning the lore and the characters of all Final Fantasies. But I do have a friend, a best friend. However, he lives on the West Coast. He's been filling me and giving me the Easter eggs, the good stuff, all the cool information and the background of all these characters. So I'm learning as I go. But I did start with this character, and I know y'all like it. Anyway, can't talk to him all the time, so I get a chance to talk with y'all. So feel free in the comments below, share the most popular or your favorite thing about Kefka. But as a magic card, this card is absurd. Absurd. I do want to say one thing. What I really like about this fantasy football Final Fantasy set is the transform mechanic. Why I like this is because it kind of gives you another gameplay element for your commander. If your commander can survive out on the battlefield, you have an opportunity to unlock more abilities by tapping mana or meeting a criteria. That's what I like about these Final Fantasy commanders, and Kefka does this. So, let's get into Kefka, Court Mage, for 2 in Grixis, 4/5 body, legendary human wizard. Let's go. Let me read the card. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna start right here. When Kefka enters or attacks, that's that Titan cycling effect. Each player discards a card. Then you draw a card for each card type of one card is discarded this way. So he is just discard and card draw at the same damn time. Disgusting. Tap 8 mana. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent of their choice. Transform Kefka. Activate only as a sorcery. What does he transform into? Kefka, Ruler of Ruin. A 5/7 body, Avatar Wizard. He has flying. It says whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, you draw that many cards. And for flavor, it says the end draws near. Did they put that on purpose? The end draws near. You're drawing cards. Hey, let me know. He won the first battle of Final Fantasy, right? What happened in the second battle? Let me know. Let me know. But I do have an infinite combo for you for Kefka once he flips over and turns into Kefka, Ruler of Ruin. I almost don't even think it's fair or fun. For 5 mana, just play a Psychosis Crawler. Psychosis Crawler's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. Then it says whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. That's an infinite loop right there. So if you have both of these on your battlefield and you go to your turn and you draw that first card, each opponent loses a life, you get to draw cards. Oh, you drew cards? Each opponent loses more life. Oh, you get to draw cards. Infinite loop right here. Nothing too fancy. I am kind of disappointed in that, but kind of an auto include if you're playing with Kefka and you want to win the game, right? Moving on to cards that will help you play Kefka Court Mage or Kefka Ruler of Ruin. So we got Training Grounds here. For 1 blue mana, it's an enchantment. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana and that cost to less than 1 mana. So to transform Kefka, you need to pay 8 mana. With Training Grounds, you can knock that down to 6. That's a very good number. Very good investment. Why not? Moving on. So let's say you don't have your infinite combo out with Psychosis Crawler, but you need opponents to lose life just off of triggered abilities. Loyal Subordinate for two and a black. Is a zombie. It has menace. It has the lieutenant ability. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, each opponent loses 3 life. Bam! You get to draw 3 cards right there, just for having both your commander and loyal subordinate on the battlefield. Moving on to drawing cards and how to abuse that. So this card, Kefka Court Mage, Kefka Ruler of Ruin, it's everything Grixis wants to do. It is a Grixis commander, heart and soul. Okay, we're gonna suggest Thermal Alchemist for 1 in a red, 0/3 body, human shaman. It has defender. This creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. All you have to do is tap it. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, untap this creature. So you get to draw 3 cards every time you tap this and deal 1 damage to each of your opponents, if they're all 3 are still in the battlefield. Right? That's good. And you get to do it again if you just find a way to untap it by casting an instant sorcery. That's not hard to do. You're playing Grixis. You're going to have a bunch of counter spells, burn spells, draw card spells that are instant, all instants and sorceries to do this. I play Kefka Dissonant Mage, so you better. I know. I love Spellslinging. So, like, Kefka is a Spellslinger commander at heart, too. Moving on. So, I was thinking of ways to make his power get insane and draw more cards, and to capitalize on having a large hand size. Kefka, you will have a large hand size when you play this commander. It is easy to do damage, make opponents lose life. It is easy to do, so take advantage of it, and you will have lots of cards. Nerd Rage for 2 and a blue. Enchantment Aura. When Nerd Rage enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. For 3 mana, draw 2 cards. That's about right. Okay. Enchanted creature you have no maximum hand size. And whenever this creature attacks, if you have 10 or more cards in your hand, it gets +10/+10 until end of turn. So, if he is flipped as Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, he would be a, 15, 17? With no maximum hand size. And you take advantage of drawing cards. Like, you're going to have 10 cards in your hand if you play this commander. It is so easy to deal damage. Move on. I got 2 more cards that capitalize on hand size matters on large hands. So let's talk about Alondra Skydreamer. I think goes very well with Kefka. For 2 and 2 blue, 2/4 body, legendary merfolk wizard. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token on flying. You'll be drawing your second card often. And guess what? You can draw cards on any player's turn. The second card on any player's turn. Kefka allows you to do that. That's easy. So you can build an army of Drakes on 1 turn cycle very quickly. Then it says, whenever you draw your 5th card each turn, Alondra, Skydreamer, and Drakes you control each get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. I mean, if you have Kefka, you got to have cards or spells that say no maximum hand size. But otherwise, you can, I think 1 turn cycle, you could have 4 2/2 Drakes. Then your following turn, draw that 5th card using Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, easily. Then God knows how many cards you have in your hand, and you just got a bunch of flying Drakes at your opponents. That's pretty amazing. I really think this is a really good card. Moving on next. Now, I brought this card out from the dirt, from the archives, the dust, the library, somewhere back there in the bag at the bottom of the layer. Bulwark for 3 and 2 red. It's an enchantment. During your upkeep, Bulwark deals 1 damage to target opponent for each card in your hand greater than the number of cards in that player's hand. I'm telling you, when you're playing Kefka, you're going to have lots of cards in your hand. You better have spells or permanents that say no maximum hand size, because if you have 10 cards in your hand and your opponent has 5, that means they are taking 5 damage at your upkeep. Just to start. 5 damage. And guess what? If you have Kefka out, you're drawing a card. Your hand will be loaded. There's nothing else to this. Take advantage of large hand size matters. I think that won't be talked about enough. If you watch this video, play test it and you will see. I promise you. It's Grixis. You better draw a lot of cards. Thank you for making this far in this video. What I got to say about Kefka, I think is the purest of Grixis commanders. It's going to be, if it gets on the battlefield and it transforms, the game is over. You do what Grixis does best. Draw cards, spell sling, and protect. And you get to cast almost any type of spells. You're only limited to the amount of mana that you can produce and how much of it. That's the only problem with Grixis. But having a handful of cards makes you completely dangerous on game nights. Thank you for watching the video. I'm your host, Commander Claw. Peace.